Alright, so welcome back to another battle replay. This one I wanted to highlight the ideas of the Blob with vampire counts and their interaction with beginning newer players who don't have a lot of micro and are just learning the game. One of the traditional traps of beginning players is that they blob up, right? So if you know that about yourself, and you're working on it, of course, but why not pick a faction that benefits from the blob, right? Where one of their main tactics is a regenerating, healing kind of death ball with high concentrations of all of your powerful units. And there's a few different reasons for that. One of them is that the place your attention and focus should be as a beginner is with your highest value units in the first place. It's one of the first difficult aspects of the Total War series to get right is focusing on your lord, focusing on your high power, high value units, what are they doing and where they are. So putting them all in one place can help that out a lot. It makes your job kind of a lot easier. And with the healing available to the vampire counts, kind of how their healing works with the Invocation of Neheks, that's kind of easier for them than it might be for other factions. For example, these Pistoliers here, going after Manfred von Karstein, but he has 90 armor, so it's not really too bad. And I got, about a 5th health off of the Royal Altdorf Griffites, one of the most expensive units on the Empire roster, pushing them away with the Chill Geist, but here comes a Bright Wizard going to release that Fireball and go into those ghostly units. Always a great option. Takes out a few of them, not too much HP damage, but -2 models. But of course, as vampire counts, we can heal those up later, whereas the Empire cannot because they took a Bright Wizard instead of a Life Wizard. So we're just kind of dancing around with Manfred, getting as much ammunition off on these units as possible. My rationale was, these Pistoliers are probably going to be shooting Manfred anyway. I might as well use one of the benefits that Manfred has with the regenerating magic and kind of use him as basically a magical artillery piece substitute. And this is very like old school vampire counts tactics, like from Warhammer original back in the day. And if at any point I need to, I can just heal him up with an Invocation of Neheks, put him over a big blob where we're doing our fighting and get some of that regeneration going. Also, Manfred, because of the hunger, already has a regeneration, so there's a lot of healing available to the vampires, especially with their lords. Another Fireball doing some pretty good work, but again, you have to think of how much magic, well, how much winds of magic it took to get that, and I would much rather have tanking a few Fireballs to the Chill Guys than having an entire line get a buffed up Flaming Sword of Ruin. So we got the Pistoliers still doing the skirmishing. We're just pushing them forward with zombies. And it's one of the benefits of having these zombies. I go back and forth about whether they're really worth it in the vampire matchup, but here they're doing a great job absorbing ammunition off of these Pistoliers, putting them on the cheapest unit that you could possibly imagine. I think the cheapest unit in the game, actually, at 100 gold. It's a great trade for here. I would love to have these Pistoliers waste even more ammunition shooting these zombies. Quick charge into the Knights of the Blazing Sun. Yeah, they're going to take some health off of the zombies, but they also took a little bit of return fire here. Not too much, but every little bit helps. And this is kind of what I'm talking about being a beginner, not having your micro all the way down, and just putting your resources in one spot. If you do what a lot of people suggest and have like command groups, as you can see, these Vargeifs are in one command group. Manfred von Karstein is in a separate one, and he actually has 105 speed to the 90 speed of the Pistoliers, so he can actually catch them. He's one of the few units on my roster that can catch them. Countercharged by the Royal Altdorf Griffites here. As you can see, this is a great matchup for them. They have anti-large, they have armor piercing, they're going against the Blood Knights, it's fantastic. But because we have our forces concentrated here, it's not just the Blood Knights, it's also the Chill Guys, it's also these two Vargulfs here. It's a concentration of power, and their leadership is tanking pretty heavily. they've taken a lot of damage, and I've also put a Spirit Leech on them, which takes their leadership down to 11. It's not looking great. And what I wanted to talk about here is their unit model count. So they have 24 units in the Royal Artdolf Gryphites. But Blood Knights have 45, and Chillgeist also have 45. So when you have that much superior unit models, you're usually going to be severely outnumbering your opponents, even if they're of equivalent value and cost to you. As you can see, they're already running away. Let's just check their leadership here. Yeah, damage sustained 85, flanks exposed. And when you're running away, you have 0 melee defense. So that means even more damage can be stacked on top. And this is what I'm talking about the death blob here. So we have 2 Varghulfs. We're severely outcosting and overloading this flank here. Even though these spearmen would usually have a decent matchup against large, which all of my threats are, as the vampire counts, here come the Graveguard, right? And the zombies are a little slower to the party. But once we have our biggest threat to our large taken care of, we can take all of this mass, all this unit value, and just go straight after the Bright Wizard. Bright Wizard has 78 speed, Manfred has 105, Chillgeist have 94. They're going to be closing that distance. And when they do get over here, as you can see, these great swords taking a good chunk out of the Graveguard, but these Chillgeists are also armor piercing. One of their best matchups is to go after these great swords right here and take what damage they can off of the one thing that they have going for them as greatsword units, which is their armor. And we're just overwhelming the Bright Wizard, right? Already terrified. I mean, I would be too. Look at this. Melee contact 12. Frightened by enemy unit. Attacked in flank and exposed flank. I actually don't know what melee contact minus 12 is. I've never really seen that before. Maybe it's the terror? I'm not sure. But again, terrified away. Can't move because of the mass units. The mass of these cavalry taking a huge amount of damage. And that is one of the ways the blob can work for you. Not the least of which because most of these units cause fear. Doesn't really work against this army because there's a lot of flagellants here. But putting a huge value in one area can make other units take the bigger and stronger units nearby penalty, which stacks with fear and the overall strategy of vampire counts in the first place, which is to scare your enemy off the field in some ways, and then chase them off with your fast, hard-hitting units. And we got the Knights of the Blazing Sun with that Grand Hammer, and this is a big dangerous thing here. Varghulf have regeneration, so the fire damage is doing a really great job here. You know, Varghulfs don't have a lot of armor. But when they get focused, you know, when I do notice them, they get terrified almost immediately by the Chillgeists and my lord here, and the Black Knights, and the Blood Knights coming in. And once that terror goes in, if you have fast enough units to follow up, you know, they take a lot of damage very quickly. And you could just, you know, have this rolling blob of mobile, powerful units, just single, I guess, one by one, rolling down your enemy and, you know, taking them out in order of how dangerous they are to your units. And this is the thing, like, even Volkmar the Grim, who has magical attacks and flaming attacks, all of which should be great against each one of my monsters here, is just getting overwhelmed. You know, he simply... I mean, Volkmar is a chariot with 50 charge bonus, so if you look at, you know, one of the ways to use Volkmar is in a blob, but if you counter blob him effectively and look at his stats, he should be charging through units. He should be moving using this charge bonus. He only has 20 defense and 30 melee attack. That is not a lot against a Varghulf who has 50 melee attack and 42 melee defense. So in prolonged combat, it's going to benefit the vampire counts, and, you know, this is army losses for the rest of them, except for, of course, the flagellants who don't know the meaning of the word runaway. And let's see if we can get some more cinematic viewing angles here. I just love the chill guys so much. They're very expensive, and I often just end up using the hex wraiths, but chill guys are beautiful. So the rest of it is just cleaning up. I've had to edit a few of my army lists just because I don't possess the micro skills enough to make use of them. And so I've gone with, you know, kind of easier to use units like the White King. But yeah, if you're a beginner and you're looking to learn a rush faction, I highly recommend the Vampire Counts. There are specific things from it that will teach you, like, you know, some habits that you might need to deal with or learn differently if you take other factions, but they don't run away. They just degenerate and crumble. They have some of the best cavalry in the game. They always cause fear, so your fight with the morale is easier, and it kind of teaches you how to operate a blob. Now granted, the Vampire Counts are one of the oldest undead factions, and in my opinion kind of in need of some love, but they got a lot of work in the first Warhammer, so like Helman Gorst and Isabella von Karstein. But yeah, I think they need a little bit of an update. Just using Manfred von Karstein correctly was something I had to learn. So Manfred, he's a caster, right? But he has 70 melee attack and 50 melee defense and 480 weapon strength. So you might be tempted to say, well, he's a combat caster, right? And that is somewhat true, but he's also the most important person on your roster. And, you know, he doesn't have a shield, at least in the current configuration that I have him, which I believe is the correct one up on his Hellsteed here. He can always run away with 105 speed. Although it's important to note, a Empire Captain on a Pegasus can catch him, but at that point you just have to turn and fight him and Spirit Leech him and cast Regeneration on yourself. So yeah, I'm still not at a point where I'm winning consistently, but the wins that I do get and the losses that I get are very instructional. And so let's just start at the top. Manfred, 176, or 1,768. Pretty decent value for the White King. White King's completely stripped down with none of his abilities because I don't have the micro to make use of his abilities anyway, and remember that he has them. It costs 500 gold, which is fantastic for a unit that is capable of punching this well into other infantry. And it's great against spears, which are one of the banes of the Vampire Counts. 19 for the zombies, not much to expect out of them. 38. 115 for these zombies, great, good job, get a gold medal. 86, 31, not so much. 417, I think these cost 500, so not terrible. 958 for these Graveguard, did a great job. 380 for these, didn't pay for themselves, I think they went up against the Great Swords. 735, I think 750 is the price of the Black Knights, so decent job, still a lot of health left. 2,043 on the Blood Knights is great. 2 chevrons earned in the battle. 1,200, I don't think that gets its value back, but, you know, their chill guys' position is really to have that extra speed and to apply the slow and, like, catch things. They're not really a, like, heavy fighting damage dealing unit. They're more of the elitist of light cav. And then 1,900 on the Vargulf, great job. And 1,000 on this Vargulf, also fantastic. Lots of health at the end. They could go the extra mile if they need to. Volkmar the Grim did really well. You know, just fighting through a bunch of the infantry in my army and hanging in the fight till the very end. You know, it's interesting that, like, you got 242 kills with all this damage value. I think it was against the Graveyard unit. 265 for the Fire Wizard. 366, not terrible for the spearmen. 500, 1,036 gold for the flagellants. It just shows you how effective flagellants can really be in this matchup. 400, 500, 436, and like over 100 kills on each of these. 792, really great. I think these are partially because they're fighting summons, zombie summons. 441, didn't quite pay for itself for the greatsword probably. 69. This was really the Achilles heel of the army. Getting that Royal Arch of Griffites kind of evaporated so quick. It lost a lot of value on the army right away and opened up that entire flank and the back line. Great value on the Pistoliers. Both of them really fantastic in this matchup. So the build was good. It's just, I think, the concentration of forces is really what won the day in this particular engagement. And that is one of the things that the vampire counts can do for you. Put all their big scary stuff in one place, attacking one target, and if those attacks go off, well, they can just eliminate units from the battlefield piece by piece. Alright, so hope that helped out. And yeah, feel free to let me know if you'd like me to cover any other armies or any other designs of how army builds go. And I'll see you later.